Welcome back to the DreamHack Showdown Summer 2020. I'm Frankie Ward and I've got Sapphire and Potter, our analysts, with me. And first of all, we've got to remind ourselves of how we got to our final three teams. So let's take a look at the bracket. And Sapphire, I'm particularly interested in DeftFox's lower bracket run because they had to get through a whopping 4 series to get to this point.
Yeah, they've played a lot of matches so far. So after dropping to the lower bracket, they have taken off Skade. Now know the name of that. They defeated Arcane Wave, and now we've got them in the lower bracket final taking on Galaxy Racer, who Galaxy Racer was dropped to the lower bracket by Originum, who are now waiting in the grand finals.
And Galaxy Racer Esports, they had a fantastic opening match. They tore apart the efforts of the Vodafone Giants on Inferno. Previous to that, in fact, they're on Nuke. They won that 16-8, but on Inferno, 16-1, and yet they struggled against a revitalized Originum. Why was that, Potter?
You know, that's the big question. Honestly, I think yesterday Galaxy just looked a little bit lost. I'm going to be honest. I mean, sure, that Inferno, it was quite competitive, making it all the way to 16-14. In fact, they had a lot of opportunities to actually get the W on that map versus Originum. But moving on to the next map, it was just such a stopping. And I got to say, when I mentioned the fact that Claudia was #1 in the top 10 players, she's all alone up there, and that's just, it's not quite enough from the rest of the members. Especially, I'm thinking about Anna, I'm thinking about Vilga. These are two players that I have really high up on my expectation ladder as far as their individual performances go, and I just know that they've got a lot more to give in that server. So I'm expecting quite a lot from them today, especially given the fact that I said yesterday that they should be able to beat DeftFox in a breezy series. So if they don't show up, then it's certainly going to be a lot more challenging than that, because these DeftFox ladies, they're all showing up. 4 members of DeftFox are on that top 10 stats leaderboard. And as Heather mentioned, they've played so many maps. They've played 8 total maps. And when you start to average out a lot more maps like that, generally you start to see the players falling off the leaderboard just because the averages, it doesn't go in their favor. So I think it's quite impressive that it's such a team effort coming out of the DeftFox side. So I really think Galaxy Racer, they've got to wake up and they've got to have a hot start coming into today.
Sapphire, what kind of numbers would we expect from Vilga? Because she is the in-game leader. So for me, seeing her at the bottom of her team's scoreboard, that to me doesn't really register. I'm like, oh, okay, right, yeah, she's the IGL. But at the same time, yeah, her numbers aren't huge so far. So would you expect to see more from her on the fragging front?
Yeah, it's just not what we expect from Vilga. Obviously, you know your in-game leader is usually preoccupied guiding the entire team, but that's lower than normal for her. We definitely need her to step up, I think, today. There's got to be more effort put in from the rest of the team if they're going to want a chance at lifting the trophy.
And in terms of Anna, I feel like in the opening series we saw that promise. I was really excited in particular to see her play, and yet Originum, she just seemed to not quite be able to handle that very experienced team. And I'm just wondering, do you think that was a pressure thing, Potter, or do you think that that's something that individually she just needs to keep working on?
I think it's the latter. I definitely think it's the pressure aspect of it, especially coming into a more structured environment. Under Vilga's leadership, I'm sure there's a lot of rules of engagement, a lot of rules of how to help your teammates, a lot of protocols in place in order to optimize exactly where the rotations are going to go. And we heard Vilga talking about the fact that Anna, she's a lot newer, she's a lot timid in that server. Her communication isn't on point. So I think it's just a matter of her getting out of her shell, becoming more comfortable within the squad so that she's a lot more confident in the moves that she's making. Because if we think back of yesterday on Inferno towards that arch side, there was a lot of indecisive movements on her part, a lot of looking for information instead of looking for actual duels where she has confidence that she's going to come out on top and find an advantage for her team. And I think as an opper, that mentality, you've got to always be able to shift it on when to fall back and when to actually move forward. And that sort of balance, that sort of juggle, it's the biggest struggle for a lot of our oppers in the CSGO scene. So it's definitely something that I absolutely think Anna is fully capable of overcoming and just becoming an incredible player. But at this moment, you can absolutely see that she's fighting it, man. She's trying to figure out how to just be the best that she can be in that server. And it's not quite there yet.
Galaxy Racer Esports, very experienced IGL in Vilga. We can see a lot of flexibility in their game plan. They're not afraid to switch up what they're originally planning to do. Sapphire, how are they going to cope with the unpredictability of DeftFox?
I think they're gonna hope that they're gonna rely on just their raw skill to be better than them. I'm not sure if they're gonna necessarily have the game plan that they're gonna have for Originum. I feel like these 5 are gonna be incredibly confident against DeftFox, and I think they're gonna rely mostly on just out aiming them. Not to say that's the best strategy, but I feel like this is a team that knows they should be in the finals, and they've already got their sights set on Originum.
We're gonna take a look at a couple of players right now. Sorry to interrupt you, Sapphire. And actually, you chose these players, Sapphire, Claudia and MRSK. I think she's called Mrs. K. We also call her Maria. Talk me through why you wanted to pitch these players against each other.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 of the heaviest carries in the tournament so far. So obviously, Claudia is heads above of everyone as far as ADR, KPR, KD ratio. She's performed incredibly in 4 maps. And then she just has lower frags and assists because MRSK has played 8 maps. And to play 8 maps, and still, I think she's number 3 right now in the tournament, just behind Claudia and Mimi. That's incredible. She only had 2 negative games out of 8 maps, and one of them was against Originum, and she still put up 14 frags, and the other was against Skade in a match that the team still won, and she had 19 frags. So she's been performing incredibly. I look to her today. Can't wait to see her and Claudia go head-to-head in the server.
In talking about DeftFox, I'm just wondering if maybe Claudia is going to punish them for getting too aggressive, because we see her adeptly hiding in various positions on those bomb sites and just mopping up the CTs who come her way, Potter. Do you think that she's the key to the victory against DeftFox?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Claudia isn't the key, because I'm just going to expect Claudia to do her thing. Just do what she's been doing all weekend long. So I have to keep to the point of what I said earlier is I'm looking at the other ladies. I'm looking at Kelly B. I'm looking at 23, Vilga. I'm looking at everyone else. I just think that collectively they need to step it up. And specifically 23, yesterday, Frankie, you asked me about her. She just, in that server, it seemed like she was maybe taking on the role of the support player a lot more than maybe she was even more comfortable with. So I think she needs to get herself involved a lot more within these rounds. A little bit earlier on, it did seem like she didn't have a lot to do in that server, in that series versus Originum early on in the rounds. So I'd like to see her a lot more involved within the rounds. I just said rounds so many times in a row.
It was impressive. We'll do a tally on the replay. No, I didn't notice at all, Potter. Right, we're going to go into our veto right now. We know that Mirage and Inferno are permabans for these teams, so we're not going to see those. So what are we going to see?
I'd like to see a pocket pick Vertigo. Oh, it's happened! I said that with zero actual faith that it was going to happen, but it's happened. This is incredible. The thing is both of these teams have been willing to float Vertigo throughout all of their series this whole weekend. And I thought this is the perfect series for one of these teams to just have it as a pocket pick. Now, I know that the mentality is, generally speaking, as an upper dog team or as a team that should win, why would you go and pick a map that you're not so sure on? But I think that mindset is absolutely shifted coming into 2020. I think that you can absolutely use Vertigo as a pocket pick. And Galaxy Racer, they busted it out. I love this from Vilga.
I love that Potter is clearly a Verti-yay person. Sapphire, are you Verti-no?
I love the pick for the teams. As someone that's an observer, I'm definitely a Verter no. So good luck with the observers. That's a hard one.
You've never been so pleased to be on the analyst desk.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you think DeftFox are going to cope with Vertigo, Sapphire?
I mean, like Potter said, they floated it out there. They gave teams a chance. So we don't know, that this might be one that they've wanted to bring out too, and they wanted to bait teams into it. So maybe it's a big play from Dex told us yesterday. There's some things we don't know about them yet, so maybe this is one that they were kind of baiting teams into.
And this is a hard map to AWP on, Potter.
It is. It's so challenging to be able to op on this map. I mean, those close quarter combats, we know how intense and chaotic it is towards that A ramp. So really, man, Anna is going to have a field day though. I think Vertigo perfectly kind of complements Anna's playstyle. You know, a lot of the long range duels, a lot of maps where you have to rely solely on rotations and communication, those are the infernos, the trains, the overpasses. Vertigo, it's all about just dueling, death matching, aiming it out towards the A ramp, even towards B, even towards middle. So I mean, this is the perfect scenario for Anna to just have one of those games where she's just, you know, having fun, dueling it out in there, not having to worry so much about where she needs to be at the right time. She can just keep her crosshair in the ones area and frag out. So I think it's a perfect pick for Anna.
Sorry, I'm just getting really excited because it's their map pick, so it means they start on the T side. I'm actually really scared for DeftFox's CTs on that B side right now because Anna, she's coming for you. Okay, let's find out what Twitch chat are saying about who is going to win this match. Okay, so hashtag DFX if you think that DeftFox are going to take it, and hashtag GXR if you're going with Vilga and the girls. Ladies, it's time to find out what you think. Sapphire.
Well, I am going to go with Galaxy Racer. I think they're going to be, I think they're the favorites, but I'm excited for what DeftFox brings, especially on the first map. You know, they did good against Originum on that, so I think it should be close.
Potter?
I'm also going to go with Galaxy Racer. I have to agree with Heather. Yesterday, when I said that this should be a breeze for Galaxy Racer, that was inaccurate. DeftFox have absolutely been swinging. Each individual on DeftFox have been showing up, so I absolutely think they can make this competitive. They should even have a chance on some parts, but Galaxy Racer, they should win this series out through and through.
Oh, this is really hard because I've been so impressed by DeftFox, and I think they've got that Furia factor. They are so ruthless and they're so hard to read, and so I'm so sorry. I know I need to wrap this up because we've got to get into the match, but I'm actually going to say DeftFox.
Oh,
I think
like
someone has to, because I think it's going to be super close, and let's see if Twitch chat agree.
That CIS team.
Wow.
It's strong, man. It's strong.
I just pronounced hello in Russian really badly, which meant that no one knew I was speaking Russian. Brilliant. So Galaxy Racer 42%, and we've got DeftFox at 58%. Let's see if you guys were right, because we've got to take a short break. And when we come back, Harry and Veerless will be taking us into our consolidation final to find out who is going to be facing Originum for the title.
So let's overload them now. I'ma give them what they want, give them what they need. Going for the winning, then they'll see that I made it. Please believe I'm bringing it home. Let's go. I'm going for the win and I'm bringing it home. I take a look around and see that I'm not alone. Everyone around me yelling, let's go. Let's go. Everyone around me yelling, let's go. Let's go. Going for the win and I'm bringing it home. I take a look around and see that I'm not alone.
Hello everyone and welcome here at our Consolidation final. My name is Fearless. I'm here joined once again by the one and only Harry, and look at that video. Everyone is so excited that we're finally going to be seeing that Vertigo. I am super duper hyped. What about you?
I'm so happy. I knew it would happen at some point, right? But I didn't know it would be today. You know, it could have just as easily been in a few days' time when we get the NA side. It could have been in the grand final, but no, we get to have Vertigo now, and I'm very, very happy about that. I feel like I've never. I mean, to be fair, like there haven't been many female events since Vertigo was added to the pool, but I feel like I've never seen them play, and so this is so exciting to me for a number of reasons, and I'm really curious as to how DeftFox are going to be feeling at the end of this one, because I don't know. If I'm them, I'm imagining they could get blindsided a little bit by this Vertigo pick.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know, they're not as comfortable on Vertigo, and they usually insta-ban Inferno, and that's exactly what they did, and it kind of left Vertigo open for Galaxy Racer up for grabs, and now they picked it. They are just going right into it, and I like that they're doing that. But first up, we have Overpass, and this is going to be interesting because we have not seen this map yet from Galaxy Racer. It is the map pick of DeftFox, but let's see if they can pull up a fight. We have Galaxy Racer on the CT side and Team DeftFox on the T side.
Yeah, we don't have to wait long to get into the swing of this one. DeftFox, they're going to be starting off with a pretty heavy mid and connector presence in this round. But already, I like what we're seeing from Galaxy Racer. They've gone aggressive down through long with two players here in the form of Kelly and Claudia. And they've got all this information that even though players were out in mid earlier on in the round, they're no longer a threat. They're no longer there. And, you know, this might not seem like much to go off of, but as this flank progresses, it's going to be a little more valuable, maybe, unless this just instant B-rush comes in response. This boost back in CT, bit of a double-edged sword, because you see it, and now you know, while the site's clear, there's two players in CT. It's a very, very passive hold. And they were kind of banking on this aggression being the thing that set up Galaxy Racer in this round, and as the aggression's coming in the backline, they find Fatal, so they've taken an advantage, and they're going to keep that up thanks to 23 keeping them in a 4-on-3.
Well, damage dealt on both sides, and now Galaxy Racer are very eager to set foot here onto this big bomb site. But Elizabeth, look at that. She has 2 kills already. Now everyone is going to be kind of walking away because, you know, CT's low time, no kit. And it looks like this round will now go to Team DeftFox. Maybe nice on the kill here for Elizabeth. Looks like the answer will be no. But yeah, that was great. Elizabeth is holding her ground there on that B-bomb site. Oh, look at that. And she turned around playing with that pillar. And, well, that's the pistol round done. And now Galaxy Racer not having a lot of money, of course, losing that first round. And Team DeftFox having already 3 AKs there, or actually 2 AKs and a Galil, and the rest on Mac 10. So this technically should be a fairly easy round for them, and the CTs are deciding to stack on this lovely B-bomb site.
Yeah, we've seen Overpass in a lot of DeftFox series at this event, right? And the lowest amount of rounds they've been able to get over on this T side is 11, which is astronomically high when you think about it. And that was versus Originum, if you remember. Now, obviously, they went on to lose that map. But I think, you know, that comes down to like some early day jitters, the lack of, you know, kind of you get in your own head a bit. You're up against a team that you know is coming into this event as like pretty heavy favorites, you know, and you've got this big lead. It starts to slip away from you. It's day one, you know, so the nerves are kind of there. But I feel like for DeftFox now that they've got this confidence, and they've always looked very, very comfortable here on Overpass. But these strong T sides have been at the real core of that. And so the fact that they find the pistol round here, they're already off to a good start. They get into the A site. Fatal scouts it out and realizes that this side of the map is empty. And so this should just be the second round, like with no danger presented. You know, like we've seen these pistols get away with a little bit more than it feels like they should in a lot of these rounds, but this isn't going to be one of them. There's one flash on 23. She can try and throw that in to set the rest of her team up in what ultimately will probably just be like a little bit of like a suicide mission into this site up here on A. But yeah, you can see like they know that they can't win this one. Kelly V's probably going to try and hold on to the armor as well. You can see she's just waiting down in connector and doesn't want to leave this side of the map. And so DeftFox, they're going to find this second round. They get that locked in. They're going to keep it nice and clean as well. And Fatal, she can afford to get aggressive here. You know, worst case scenario, she gives the Mac 10 over. But as long as she kind of gets like 2 kills, she's made her money back. And she'll get that. She'll survive. And they might even lose the armor here on this con push. They do. So not like the end of the world. Fatal does die to the bomb. But all around, you know, like for either side, kind of exactly as we would expect. It's nice and clean for DeftFox. And it's a round just slipping by the wayside before the full buy comes in here in round number 3 for Galaxy Racer.
Yeah, I mean, that kill on Fatal was not too bad. She only had a Mac 10, and now she can upgrade to the nice AK. And Galaxy Racer now onto a lot of FAMASs and 1 M4. Vilga is just deciding to go for the firepower instead of some util. She will leave that to the rest of the team. And now DeftFox are just going to be bursting into connector here. It's not really expected for the CTs. That's already a very nice early round lead for Team DeftFox. And of course, you kind of want to make this round happen if you're Galaxy Racer. First kind of buy round. You really need them, especially if you're on the CT side, which is a little bit more favorable here on Overpass. And now they're taking things a little bit slower, you know, throwing some util and just waiting if maybe any one of the CTs is very eager to push, to make a play, to trade things out. But it's not going to be happening. Everyone is sitting tight. And slowly but surely, DeftFox is looking to kind of go towards that A-bomb site. Kind of scary, actually, in the fact, because no one is holding the flank, but it seems to be all right for now. And we have 3 CTs waiting and ready to pick them up. Vilga already with the first, and good damage onto a second. But Keisu and Fatal will definitely make things a lot harder here for Galaxy Racer. Oh, and the bomb does get planted. Kelly was not in time to stop that, and now it's on to Claudia. But we've seen her magic before. Maybe she can clutch this one out. But the hard thing is she has no util, and she needs to find 3 players. And they're going to play a little bit of hide and seek here. We have a player over in long. But Claudia will manage to find her. And now 2 more to take care of.
Oh, she just wasn't ready for Fatal, right? Like, who would be ready for that position? That isn't even really a position that exists. She just sat out in the open to get that trade and not give any room over in the what was a 1v3 down to the 1v2. So, you know, I'm going to get this little prediction in nice and early because I'm kind of curious as to where you're leaning. If you were to like pick not just a winner of this series, but a winner of the whole tournament, who would it be? I'll give you mine quick. Mine, I think DeftFox take the entire EU side. That's a pretty ballsy prediction, I know. And I'm getting it in nice and early because then there's always the chance I'm proved wrong. But how are you feeling about the rest of the event, Fearless, outside of this series? Because obviously we do only have an eco round here for Galaxy Racer.
Well, if DeftFox, if they win this map, I have a good feeling they can take Galaxy Racer down in this best of 3. Dust 2 as a 3rd map is probably their best map, so that's going to be very, very exciting to see. And as far as then the final, of course, Team DeftFox, they did lose against Originum. But also Originum kind of showed a more weaker side on the first day, and they definitely showed up more on the second day. But also DeftFox, they managed to pull up a fight. So I'm not really sure how that final's gonna go, but I do have confidence for Team DeftFox here in this one.
Okay, we can accept that for now. You know, I think by the end of this series, we'll get a prediction for the grand final out here. I like that play from Alice. He tries to like just throw caution to the wind and goes for the short play with the AWP. It's a bit of a shame because DeftFox, you know, in this round they apply a lot of pressure over here towards short side. They even have Maria moving in like towards the connector side. You know, they just kind of swarm her with the flashbangs as well. There's not much she could have done there. 23 and Claudia holding close over here towards short and monster, and that flash gets a bit of damage off for 23. But not quite the killing blow, and that's a little bit devastating. They would have loved to have put this back into a 3-on-3 because now danger of it still being in a 4-on-3 like this is that DeftFox, that they just sit and they wait for these aggressive peaks to come in. But Claudia, helped out by Keisu a little bit, admittedly, has actually turned this back into a 2-on-2 single-handedly.
Well, and the thing is, on either side, one of the plays is very low. Claudia onto 1 HP, Mariah onto 7. Oh, and the Molotov will go flying. This time it's onto Vilga, and well, it looks like the Molotov will just do enough to kill Mariah, and then the last one as well. So here we have it. The first round here for Galaxy Racer. Oh, that kill. Oh, that is just sad if your teammates tries to stand in front of you.
Yeah, it's just awkward, right? Because it's like it's one of those moments where DeftFox, and this is what they've been very, very good at, is like playing the very like basics of like trading and playing together. That's where like, you know, that comes back to punish you. They try and double peek into it, and unfortunately, they align perfectly. Now this round, look at this. There's mid aggression, but Keisu's a pretty smart cookie. That like she heard all the utility coming over, and she's anticipating like, well, they've shown us that they like to go aggressive, and with the nades, you know, why wouldn't they? And so she's just waited. That's the most horrible position to get killed from as well, because it's like even then 23 is like clearing it. She's like, yeah, it's all good. I'm fine. I can keep flanking, guys. I've got this great flank coming in, and then she just gets one tap to the back of the head. And now that's problematic for so many reasons, because she doesn't get any information from that push, and she's given over an advantage with so much time left. It's like now there's even more questions than answers than there was before. And Keisu's made a bit more noise over here towards the A site. If they keep being quiet outside of B, that could prompt the rotation up and over into A. But now with the utility reigning in, I'm imagining Galaxy Racer feel pretty safe in their assumption that this is going to be the B play. And Claudia delivering one. Lots of damage to help out Kelly B. And Claudia, well, she does get dealt with. It's all left on Victoria on the other side. 1 versus 3 to try and find. The bomb is dropped. 20 seconds left. These are all very, very bad phrases if you want to make this 1v3 happen. So it might just have to be this save.
Yeah, she does have that big green weapon, very costly, and well, I mean, her teammates can probably buy going into the next round, but Victoria, yeah, she doesn't have a lot of money in the bank, so if you want to stick to that up, you better save that weapon, and well, no one is really gonna hunt her. Of course, money on the Galaxy Racer side is not too great yet, so to go hunting is not the best decision. And well, another round for them. Very interesting to see how this one will play out now, because you know, as far as economy goes, it's kind of like similar now. In Galaxy Racer, they need to pull through before Team DeftFox start yeah, widening that gap between them.
Yeah, wants to get in with this mid aggression, and that's the thing. DeftFox seem very, very aware that this is an option, and Vilga is going to get taken down in amongst all the madness. So we find ourselves back into this 4-on-4 now.
Well, looks like CTs are taking some control here. We have a player over in Con, making sure that one is taken care of. But at the same time, not really anyone contesting along. They're just kind of holding it passively from that site. But I do have a feeling that the CTs might have heard some footsteps there over on mid. And of course, DeftFox very eager to get some kills going. Oh, but look at this 23. She's about to maybe push that connector, and Anna now having that information. She needs the backup in order to make sure that this play will happen. Anna with the first, and she hears the footsteps. She needs to turn around, and that's exactly what she is doing. She gets a nice 3K there for herself, and suddenly that leaves Victoria once again all on her own. Yeah. And whole time, she does have the bomb, but it is a nice AK headshot there from Kelly that will make sure that that op is now hers. She will probably drop it to someone else. Maybe she will stick to it depending on the spawn. You know, if she has a nice a long spawn, you might want to use that to peek. But that was a great play from Anna there.
Yeah, it's, you know, like kind of like taking stock of everything we've seen thus far. This mid aggression is, you know, while it's taking players away, it's always good to get them the information, and it's something that DeftFox, even though they've been trying to deal with it, they haven't really been able to mitigate the damage just yet. This round, it's only the pistols, and they'll get dealt with nice and quickly. The thing that I think maybe is a little bit worrying for me right now, as someone who came into this, flying the DeftFox banner, is the Galaxy Racer. One of the things that the desk kept bringing up, I think especially Potter was like really trying to drive this point home, was that she wanted to just see other people outside of Claudia delivering the performances that we know they can. And right now, that's definitely the case, right? This is like a very, very even scoreboard over on this CT side. And that's a little bit worrying because in these other games, it has kind of felt like, you've only ever had like 1 or 2 of the key players stepping up for this Galaxy Racer squad. And even then, they've been able to do a hell of a lot. And I think the other thing that worries me is that DeftFox, it feels like they sometimes get a little bit flustered, and the strats are still there, but the individuals kind of fall off a little bit when the going gets a little too tough. And at a stage like this in the competition, you can imagine this is a very, very stressful spot to be in. There's a potential grand final placing on the line at like a bare minimum if you pick this series up. And so the pressure is higher than ever, and you're up against a team now that's very, very used to being in these situations, and they've been here, they've done that, and they know what it kind of means to long out a series like this, to lock in a grand final placing. So it's going to be a real test for this DeftFox squad, and it only gets harder. That's the thing. Like, even if you win this series, well, then you go to the grand final. You think the pressure was high now? Well, it's going to get even worse. So, yeah, I do think for DeftFox, they want to try and get back on top of this as quick as they can, because the last thing you want is for Galaxy Racer to start to pick things up, start to build this momentum. I especially think that's a problem for someone like Claudia, right? The moment she gets the momentum going behind her, she is so hard to put a stop to. You think back to... it was that Inferno game yesterday versus Originum where she got the double aces. It was phenomenal. And in this round, even then, her and Kelly B have been doing a great job of holding down Monster. Now, Victoria has picked them apart, and that's a bit of an awkward exchange. Vilga and Elizabeth were rotating down to B together, and I thought for a moment they put their differences aside, but no, they turn on one another. And this leaves Fatal all alone in the 1v3.
Well, the bomb is planted, so that is good, and a lot of players are definitely damaged, but her as well. Well, Fatal, down to 19 HP, but the only player she still needs to find is Vilga, and she does have a Molotov left still. That is pretty good, and Vilga has pretty much nothing to work with, just that bare AK, and, well, she is now going to be tapping that bomb, is actually going to be sticking it, and now Fatal needs to run and gun, and that's exactly what she does. She will clutch it out. Sadly. Oh, actually, no, she doesn't die. Oh, that's good. Thank God. I was like, oh, is she gonna die to the bomb with no health? No, it's all good. Oh, yeah, that was a nice clutch playing around there and then coming in from behind and using a Molotov to delay things. Really good. Yeah, I was a little bit worried there because CTs, they used a lot of util early round and they didn't have a lot left as far as, like, when the 30 seconds hit. So... retake was a little bit hard, eventually got very close. But once again, another round for Team DeftFox. And now let's see what they're going to be doing. A nice connector push here with 3 men there.
Yeah, but I like the response in this round from Galaxy Racer, right? They've double pushed short to try and deal with this con problem, and that allows these players to shoot up through connector on this flank if the A hit does indeed come through, which it looks to be right now. Toilet's control's been taken by DeftFox, but it's still kind of hanging in the balance here, especially with this AWP on the back of Anna. And this is where everything slows down, and this gives these players that were aggressive short the timing to come in on this wrap. And now that they've got one, Kelly B, you can see she's like toying with the idea of falling back, but she sticks around to try and get a little bit more, and that leaves 23 in a very awkward spot down in the connector. Thankfully, it really is like an all-in pincer from the CTs. They had them trapped there down in COD, and they do a pretty good job of stopping these rotations. Claudia's even spotted Fatal moving out through the con side. She heard Victoria run to Monster earlier on, so she's called for this rotation from Anna, who moves in with this AWP, and Victoria in a 1v2. This is a very rough spot to be in. She's going to try and get this bomb down. This is like a bit of a miracle plant, in all honesty. She picked the perfect spot, but that's not good enough. Claudia is going to get the frag, and the defuse is going to come on in. Galaxy Racer, they're going to get 5 on the board, as Claudia and co, they deliver once again.
Oh, wait, let's look at this replay. Yeah, as soon as you are feeling that heat in the connector, it was a little bit shaky there. but eventually it all worked out there for Galaxy Racer. And now, once again, things are tied up 5-5. And Team DeftFox is kind of broke. They do go for some upgraded pistols, and we see a MAC-10 onto Fatal. But already here, great damage dealt, a nade on top of it, and Vilga is just gonna farm some nice kills with that MP9. 2 kills already. She is down to some low health, but that's already pretty good for her, and a nice early lead going into this round.
Yeah, Victoria's looking for anything she can possibly get her hands on over here in mid. And there are players all around her, so there's always a chance, but yeah, she gets shut down. And that's kind of what you would expect. This round gets laid to rest nice and cleanly. Galaxy Racer, they've been very, very good up against these pistols, right? They've not really been getting overwhelmed. Even the rounds that look like they could have gotten out of hand, like think about a little, it would have been what, 2 rounds, 3 rounds ago now, when there was that pistol rush in through mid and they take the AWP off of Anna. But it was so quickly the rotations are coming in just to keep this in their favor. And I do think that the Galaxy Racer, they're showing us a very, very good face right now. You know, they're not letting anything kind of slip by the wayside or go untraded, and it's not like the same case in what we saw in that matchup of them versus Originum, where occasionally it felt like you just had a few too many of these like individual plays. No, it's right now it's all about, you know, grouping up at this first point of contact, taking as many advantages as you can. And they've been very, very good at this. But that's a missed spray from 23, and so that's going to give the advantage over to DeftFox. Fatal, she knows that she's kind of lucky to be alive in that situation there, even though it's a nice flick for her to deal with 23. It certainly was as well, kind of like that was a kill that should have been Galaxy Racer's. That flash actually missed. That was meant to go out through the window in case that wasn't obvious, because the rest of the gang over in Connector got blind.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's not the end of the world, right? It would have been a very different story if that flash like breaks up the peak and then Claudia's over it short and just mows them all down. You know, that would have caused like quite the tense little atmosphere in in the TeamSpeak or whatever they're using. So luckily enough, they're all good, and they've got short control. They might even catch Kelly on this rotation down through Con. And so now the world is their oyster. 5-on-3, and they can go anywhere.
But remember that 2 players are low, but it seems like all the kills from the Galaxy Racer side, they do not seem to be connecting. And now just Vilga and Anna last alive. We still have Queso here on the flank, and she will take care of that AWP and make sure that will not go into the next round. And, well, this game, it's kind of like a game of table tennis, you know, back and forth.
We like that one. Back and forth. Yeah, look, there's the flash, right? Like you imagine how that would feel if the first player goes running out, and then because everyone else is blind, they're all hanging back, and obviously, like, you know, none of that was how it was meant to be, and like that round could have gone very, very wrong. But thankfully, they're not like punished for that. And I think that's good for a lot of reasons. Also, just for like the mentality of DeftFox, who don't normally make like many mistakes like that. Their utility, I think, has been the best of any team in the tournament thus far. Casey's down here towards short, but she gets picked up very early on in this round, and there's no one nearby to trade that kill out. It looks like they want to try and walk the monster smoke, and let me tell you, with Claudia on the other side, that is always a bad idea. They kind of try and throw caution to the wind there, that they move into B. That's like, you know, you see a lot of B rushes on Overpass, you see a lot of these B plays from all like tiers of opposition. Like I'm talking like best teams in the world all the way to like the folks in matchmaking. I'll be honest, I hate those B plays. I think that you're just running into a site, you know, like with very little information. It's not too uncommon to see that B side of the map stacked very, very heavily. And so I always think like it's forgivable in a pistol round or one where you know that your opponents don't have a lot of utility. But here, where Galaxy Racer have been so good throughout this whole CT side thus far, and the money's fine, I just think that feels like such a risk. You know, you haven't even tried to pull apart that standard like 3-2 split between the B and A site yet. You're running into a site that you know is going to have the majority of players on it. And honestly, with how Galaxy Racer have been playing with these kind of like con presence and things like that, you know, the rotations were going to be pretty quick as well. So that felt like a very risky round. And maybe on the back of losing Keisu over towards short, they get desperate. This is interesting. That's a cool way to try and spot a player back in T-spawn saving. Victoria, though, she's hidden down here over at the nightclub. And She is very low. She actually could go down after time. It looks like that's... I was going to say, maybe Galaxy Racer are trying to delay it till that point. I would have loved to have seen a push now, but I also understand the decision just to save, right? It's like, you want to make sure your money is good as well as ruining your opponents. And ultimately, it's like, it's not the end of the world. The buy was coming in here anyway. You know, Victoria would have been nice to take the AWP away, but they don't. And, you know, she gets away with it with one more round. But Galaxy Racer, they got faith in their system right now. And that's kind of what you want to see.
Ooh, Ana gonna be pushing through her own smoke. Gets a tiny little tag there, but not a whole lot. Sadly, not a kill. But definitely a bit of information there for Galaxy Racer. So that's good. And the rest can just sit tight and maybe catch the lurker player there over towards B. Now Vilga here in that bathroom is hearing a lot of utility flying around. And now also quite some footsteps, so she needs to hold her ground together here with Ana. That's kind of backed off a little bit towards that side to make sure she has the long range with that AWP. And, well, she does see one. Sadly, the flick does not connect yet. But Vilga does have the info now, but as soon as you're not hitting your shots, you know, you're feeling the heat, you may need to make sure you're not going to get overwhelmed there by so many of the Ts if they decide to push. But Team DeftFox, they're taking a little bit of a chill pill. They're going to take things a little bit slower. And eventually, I think they will just burst out. They need to use their util though, because if they're just going to be peeking this dry, it might go pretty badly. And that's already one smoke there onto Dumpster. But Vilga, with the close angle, you know, if you're going to be pushing, she is going to be ready. And Vilga is going to clean almost everyone up here. And that leaves Elizabeth last player alive. But maybe she can still... Nope, she cannot do anything.
Yeah, and I think you said something that was really important just then, which is they need to use their utility. And that's not something I feel like we've really ever had to say for DeftFox a hell of a lot. But in this round, it's like everything we've been praising them for all tournament long felt like it kind of went out the window. And there were a lot of dry fights there. And the moment that like those first few kills went against them, you know, your mentality suddenly shifts between like setting each other up to just focusing on getting those entries and trying to capitalize on any trades you can get. And so it all became a little bit of just a little bit messy. And that's where someone, you know, like Vilga, who's holding close, is going to be massively favored. You got the collateral from Ana in this round. She's really delivering with this AWP. And I'm so happy to see that because, you know, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more from her. I've always seen like these little glimmers thus far from her in this Galaxy Racer squad, but I don't think we've seen the full potential yet. We might be getting that here on Overpass. Elizabeth falls, and then so does Keisu. This comes to a close, and it is going to be Galaxy Racer with 9 at the end of that first half of play. Now, as I said, DeftFox, the lowest amount of rounds they've had on T-side Overpass was 11, and even then, every one of those games felt like it was going to be close. So this is a little bit worrisome. 6 rounds to their name, 9-6 at the end of the first half of play. You're going to have to join us after just a quick break to see if DeftFox can continue to streak together some victories here on their map pick.
Hello everyone and welcome back here into this second half of the first map of Galaxy Racer against Team DeftFox. It's 9-6 in favor of Galaxy Racer, and let's see what this pistol round will be like. We see 2 flashbangs onto Vilga, so that might be nice to entry towards that B-bomb site, but it seems like, you know, they have a little bit of a different plan with 4 people down here in connector. Ooh, and Keisu already with the cheeky push here in playground. She's not gonna go all the way, and that would have been nice because Vilga is just around that corner.
This round is another good example of like some really clever little ideas that we'll kind of talk about after this push comes in, because rest assured it is coming now. Fatal's back in the bomb site, and she's called for this early rotation back up. Like DeftFox, they really do seem to have a good read on this round as to how it's looking to pan out. They've got a lot of bodies over towards the A bomb site, but only 1 player actually in it, and that represents a little bit of a problem. Fatal gets wrapped, and Keisu's flank. Ooh, oh, that could have been the kill that kick-started this whole. There it is. She gets it eventually. Casey looking for another. Can't quite connect onto Vilga, but it doesn't matter. She's done enough to get her team propelled back into this site. And now for Elizabeth, she's hounding these kills down. She's going to get helped out by Maria. Pistol round gets picked up by DeftFox. And as I said, there was a cool little, there were a few cool ideas in that round there. So firstly, they employed that boost down towards the B site, you know, the one that gives you that vision over at short. And while that was happening, Victoria, yeah, look at this little camera change. Thank you. Yeah, that little, little bit of plywood they boost over there. But then they also have Victoria pushing down that short side. And so as Claudia runs out and is dealing with the player on the boost and just putting some bullets there to dissuade them from doing it, that's when Victoria swings out from short and gets a little free kill. And now, look, we just got this fast B play. It's going to be coming in, and they're very, very quick on it. Maria doesn't actually realize the player's gotten deep, and so that's going to lead to Elizabeth falling, but she does get the trade shortly thereafter. So a 2-on-4 right now for Galaxy Racer, and the bomb dropped it short. It's fully held by DeftFox. This is not going to be an easy round to get back into.
Yeah, and this was, of course, a force buy after having that bomb plant in the pistol round. But yeah, probably going into the next, it's not going to be a whole lot. And it might give DeftFox, you know, that little bit of an extra push to tie things up once again. So this is looking actually pretty good for them. And now they're going to be pushing, but it looks like that nice MP9 will clean everyone right up and brings Team DeftFox a little bit closer towards that scoreline of Galaxy Racer. Maybe, you know, they can push through and eventually come to that double digit and take the lead again.
Yeah, you know, we were having a little discussion in the in the break there. We were just saying, like, this 9-6 scoreline at the end of the half was scary if the pistol round didn't go your way. And thankfully for DeftFox, it did, and they were able to find the conversion. Now they sit in a really good spot. This is where they can look to get back into this game, and as long as they deal with this pretty much full eco well, they're still going to be in full control. Ooh, it's got a little bit risky for Victoria, but that's where someone like Fatal was meant to come in and save the day. And in a sense, she has, because she brought them down so low. She gave time for the reload to come in. As I'm kind of bigging all that up, Victoria does fall, but there's the trade. So it's a lot more expensive than you would have liked for DeftFox. It's not going to present any issues immediately. Like this round, you know, the buy is still going to be coming in. You're still going to have everything you need. It's more in these next few rounds that we're going to see the implication of that third round there in this second half of play being so close, because you look at all this investment and now they're kind of teetering on the edge of like a very, very awkward situation where Fatal and Maria have hoarded all the wealth, and then the rest of them are just left scrambling for whatever they can get their hands on in the future. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that one, especially with the scoreline being 9-9. If Galaxy Racer come in and pick up a T-side round right out of the gate, that's where things get a little bit interesting as a result of that round prior being far more costly than it had to be.
Yeah, and now interesting. I was thinking last round 23 she bought like a hero Galil, but like she was one of the first players to fall, and the Galil got just so lost and it had 0 impact, so that was kind of sad. And now you can see that she's onto that Mac 10, and There's limited util as well for the T side. So I think most likely they will have to go for just a clean execute if they want to make use of that util and give it a purpose. Ooh, and 23 is making a lot of noise. Maybe baiting out Keisu there a little bit. Maybe she will push that. But she's just going to be sitting tight and... Oh, 23 kind of missing the boost. Eventually she will make it on top. Oh, and she will spot Keisu, and Keisu will spot her as well. And it looks like she will be winning that fight pretty easily. And now things are pretty tied up once again. And the T is... They have little amount of time. Only 20 seconds on the clock. And Keisu is still anchoring here on that A side. And time is ticking away. And it looks like... Yeah, with limited util, no flashbangs left, it's very hard to set ground on this A side. Well, Fatal. Oh, wait, what? Whoa. What is suddenly happening? Question mark? I don't know. We saw a nose scoping coming and more kills, and Anna is just saving the day here with that AWP.
Yeah, I mean, she just went like above and beyond what was expected of her there to make that happen. And yeah, a tactical timeout called in from DeftFox, and really, I think justifiably so, because that is a miserable way to have a round just slip by. Honestly, I thought that, you know, Vilga unfortunately almost threw that one away. You know, she runs into site first with the bomb. She, instead of, you know, kind of sticking in these safe positions where even if she dies, it's easy to get these trades or you know, at least retrieve the bomb. She swings wide on the dice box to try and deal with the player there. And almost gives the bomb over, and with it the round. But that's where Anna just goes, yeah, you know what, guys? Like, I have just remembered I'm kind of the best thing in the server right now. And so she just annihilates everyone with her orb. That was honestly just spectacular to turn that around. Another player there who deserves a bit of a shout out, who didn't really find much in terms of kills. She only got one in the round, was Claudia. But she was down towards B, and she was putting a lot of pressure on the players at that B bomb site. And so that prevented those rotations from coming in early, because they were still worried about that bomb moving back. Just then as well, like you're probably wondering, if you don't watch a lot of Counter-Strike, why Claudia was just like plainly shooting at the ground there. She's trying to kick up smoke through the actual smoke that's been thrown, like dust, I guess would be the better word. She's trying to kick up dust with the bullets, because there's like a little bit of a bug where if there's dust everywhere inside the smoke, you can see players through it. So she's trying to see silhouettes. That's really smart. We see Flusher do that a hell of a lot on this map. So I'm a big fan that she's trying to employ some of that to cheese an early kill in the round. But right now, it was Keisu to get that privilege. And 23 will at least trade it out, putting them back into a 4-on-4. Claudia still doing what she does best, which is just maintaining this presence down towards the B bomb site. And in this round, it's not so much to sell this fake, even though she has dropped a smoke early on and she has kept the player here. She's trying to give the illusion that, once again, guys, I'm just here to be in your head. I'm just here to you know, not allow these rotations. And that's where DeftFox think they've been smart, and they've gone, well, we've not fallen for it, Claudia. You know, we've rotated players up to A. However, if you look at the minimap, if you look at the utility going into this B bomb site, you'll see that actually her going quiet was all part of this ruse. And now the play comes in. Victoria up in heaven with this orb has got to do a hell of a lot if this round wants to come up in favor of DeftFox.
Oh, and she gets spotted, and sadly that was not a kill for her. And Elizabeth is now trying to win a fight there over by just pushing, and you know, when Victoria was not able to connect that shot. But things, well, Fatal might be there to save that day with the FAMAS. The thing is, though, they have no util and no kit, so they need to make a move very fast if they still want to win this round. Well, that's the first for Victoria now. And the question is, where's the last player going to be sitting? And it is towards Monster and Victoria with a no-scope as well, once again. She will make it happen. And it looked a little bit scary there for a second. But it's all fine for the retake. And, you know, maybe it's all like an AWP and a FAMAS you need.
I don't know what it is about like these female AWPers, but it really feels like they have just like nailed the art of no scoping, because in this series and in every series thus far, I feel like we've seen so many no scopes, and I just don't get it. I am like dumbfounded with the accuracy of which the unscoped AWP seems to work for these women. It is a spectacle, and it gives us some really great moments. So, you know, I'm not even mad. Like, I'm not mad that whenever I try a no scope, even if my barrel is in them, it feels like it just goes anywhere but where I want it to. And so in this round, the money's gone for Galaxy Racer. They've got, a couple of sets of armor, a lot of utility, which I'm a big fan of. They want to try and set themselves up with a B play. And if you're able to use this utility to cut down these sight lines, right, nullify someone like Fatal who's playing back in CT and leave it just on these players in the site, then you could have looked to get something done. And while they do find Fatal, thanks to these smokes, while they are able to overwhelm her, it hasn't transpired in a way that they should be able to win the round. And so Elizabeth and Maria, they're going to hold on to Monster. They get an 11th on the board. DeftFox, they're keeping this one very, very close, and they're keeping themselves in the lead, which when you think about that, that 9-6 half, this is very, very good within that context, especially because they're still in charge of the money. They're still in charge of the economy in this game. So right now, they find themselves pretty firmly in the driver's seat. I say pretty firmly. It's like, they've got like a round buffer, which doesn't sound like much, but at this scoreline, it can make all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, for DeftFox, winning this round would be huge. You're widening your lead, and also, the money on Galaxy Racer, you kind of want to prevent that from building this late in the game. And, well, nothing really happening so far early round. A lot of util now being deployed, and it looks like Galaxy Racer is just going to go for a nice push here. And also with some util accompanied. Looks like the site might be up for grabs pretty soon, but don't leave Keisu out of the question just yet. She gets the kill there onto Kelly, but I think... Oh, nope. She will turn around. She will get the kill onto Vilga. But look at this. Anna with a no-scope, 23 with another kill. And suddenly Victoria needs to save the day once again with it off. She did it before, but this is getting harder and harder by the second. I think she spotted the gun barrel there. Well, she will be switching to the M4 for the close range battles, but not expecting Claudia to be so close already. And, well, that's the round that Galaxy Racer really needed. They get the money now. It was still pretty costly. Not every single player has a whole lot. Vilga can buy armor and an AK, but no util. So they're calling a tactical timeout to see, what are we going to be doing with this.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not going to be up against too much resistance on the other side. Like, DeftFox are in this spot where they could elect to force if they want to. And if they were ever going to, this might be the round to do it. Just because you do have your opponents like right at breaking point in terms of the money. But if DeftFox are kind of showing us anything thus far, it's that they like to have everything they need in these rounds. And they're very, very, not like reliant, but they feel very, very confident in their utility usage and, playing around their smokes, their flashes, and setting each other up. And so they're not going to go for the force buy. They could have had 3 rifles in play and then some pistol armor alongside it. That's not the case. And so they're just going to try and do some damage with these pistols. The damage is fairly paramount, and with 3 players about to come through this monster smoke, that flash is thrown in from Fatal. They do get a couple of kills, but Vilga's able to hold on, and they're very, very thankful that she gets away with that kill there. Keisu has just missed the timing to deal with Kelly V as she crosses down into water, and so Fatal is suddenly all alone. And a nice little note there is that Claudia as well was playing anti-flash in the corner down in Monster, so that even when that flashbang from Fatal comes out, it fully blinds Vilga. But Claudia was able to turn around, and while she only got 1 kill, she just soaked up enough attention for long enough for Vilga to become unblind and then be able to offer some assistance as well. So 12-11, Galaxy Racer back in the lead, but a reinvestment now coming through for DeftFox. Thankfully, that round was clean for Galaxy Racer. And so this whole money situation that we kind of spoke about a few rounds ago has now been flipped on its head, very, very much so. And it's Galaxy Racer, the ones finding themselves in a very good economic spot in comparison to DeftFox, especially because DeftFox are on this CT side, which is just that much more expensive to buy on and a lot harder to generate money from. Like the teams, they can get those bomb plants. They have cheaper AKs. They don't have to buy defuse kits. The Molotovs are cheaper. There's a lot of reasons why this is a much better spot now for Galaxy Racer than it was for DeftFox when they were kind of in this same position.
And it looks like Team DeftFox is really trying to make a play there. Fatal will do so, but eventually, it gets traded. And also Mariah, they're falling due to the Molotov. kind of unfortunate, and that leaves Galaxy Racer here once again with a lead going into this round. Well, let's get that out of the way, because Victoria is still alive here. Is kind of in a tough spot here, working around that pillar, and Claudia is just making sure that, yeah, this B-bomb side, let's just sweep everyone right off and, you know, don't give DeftFox any chance of winning this round.
And this could be the unraveling, really, as sad as it is to say. You know, this should be a 14th round when you just look at the difference in firepower here. And it's scary because, you know, like right at the final few rounds in this game, or at least like the most important rounds in this game, DeftFox are the ones in like this horrible economic spot. Like usually if you kind of enter this early on in your CT side and you're in this kind of situation where you buy and then you lose and then you have to save or partial and then you lose that and then you buy, it just rinse repeats that cycle, right? It's not normally the end of the world if it happens early on, because you can still dig yourself out of it, but you just don't have enough rounds at this point. You know, you're playing an eco in this one now. That's going to give over 14 if you don't pick it up. Well, suddenly, if you don't get that next buy round, you're up against 15 and you're force buying till the very end of the game, and you've got no say in the matter. So the kind of element of control that DeftFox had in this game, however small it kind of was at any point in time, is now completely gone, and they're just having to play reactively to how Galaxy Racer and moving around this map. And this is where they really do start to get dangerous over on this T side. The confidence is there. Everyone's stepping up. Kelly V's got 3 in this round. She's padding those stats. She's building up the confidence. And yeah, this is going to be very, very clean again. And it's how clean these anti-ecos have been for Galaxy Racer, that when you kind of compare and contrast them to DeftFox when they were in these situations, it felt like a lot of the time they got more costly than they needed to. They only lose 1 player. That's not the end of the world. 14-11. Money is still made for this T side overall, and the AWP was saved forward. So this is do or die now for DeftFox. If they don't get this round, this map probably slips by them, and then they move into Vertigo, the map pick of Galaxy Racer, and that becomes an even scarier affair.
Yeah, I mean, Galaxy Racer now showing up on this T side is definitely scary, and, you know, also considering Team DeftFox, their T side was so good yesterday as well, and now, I mean, it was still not bad. They still had plenty of rounds, but it was, you know, not exactly the same performance. Ooh, but look at this. Here we go. Ooh, wait, what? She didn't. Oh no, she didn't spot. Oh, that's so unfortunate. But there was a nice tag on Fado actually instead. But it doesn't matter, you know. Galaxy Racer's just gonna be bursting out B here. And the cheeky thing is, though, the bomb is not there. So we see some rotations already coming in. Actually, from pretty much almost all of the CTs here, we just have one over towards Toilet that's kind of lost and kind of falling back towards that A side, just in case. But the guess now is right this time. Kelly still hiding in that water position, not really being expected. And suddenly, you know, the bomb will get planted, and it's a 2-on-3. Nice tag there onto Vilga, but it's not a kill just yet. Just a tiny bit more, down to half HP. Now Victoria, she needs to show up together with Keisu to make this round happen. It is so important that you have this one if you're DeftFox. But no one is really showing their faces, you know, they're playing very cheeky. They need to hide a little bit and play for time. And the thing also is, look at that. The CTs don't have a kit. This is suddenly so hard, and now with Victoria out of the game, Keisu is left to save her rifle. And that is not the way you wanted that round to go.
Terrorists win. Ooh, Kelly V's even hunting this down. She gets it. That's the ace. That's all 5 in the round. She's gotten, what, 8 out of a possible 10 kills over the last 2 rounds. She has just stepped up massively at such an important timing. Honestly, everything about this was just wild. And even the fact that she hounds down, she isn't just playing for the ace there. You know, as good as it is that she's able to get it just for her as an individual, the implications of taking that gun away are absolutely huge. You look at the money on Keisu, right? She has $3,700. If she holds on to that M4, she still has armor, she still has a rifle. She can drop that over, she can buy up another M4. The rest of the team can get their hands on, you know, FAMAS's, MP9s, and then they have those rifles, those 2 M4s around them to supplement it. But now there's not going to be an M4 in sight. There's going to be nothing of the sort. Instead, you've got 2 FAMAS's, 3 MP9s, and that is your investment up against 15 on your map picks. So that chase from Kelly V is just phenomenal. The fact that she goes for it, the fact that she finds it, and really, I think that is going to be the defining thing as to why now Galaxy Racer should have a pretty easy time getting this one over the finish line.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, are they going to have an answer for what Galaxy Racer is going to be doing into this round? So far, you know, some map control once again. We have a player over in Con and one in B. And the other 3 now here in Playground once again. This time, no boost to catch them out. And things are a little bit more relaxed. You know, CTs are not going to be pushing things unnecessarily. Instead, oh, that was a nice flashbang. Claudia was blind, but sadly the kill is not coming in. And she will just back off a tiny bit and make sure, you know, that pressure stays there. Kelly is there to back it up. Nice, nice little hole there in the door to make sure that, you know, if someone pushes, she can mow them down. And now DeftFox, you know, time is ticking. They're trying to make a play here. So together, you know, okay, so can hear a lot down here on mid and has the info. She spots the first and spots the second as well. She kind of needs to run away before she gets picked up. You know, you have a lead now, you don't want to give it away, and the time is ticking. Galaxy Racer, they need to go to this A bomb site, so the utility, it will be deployed. But be wary, because CTs are coming and running in. And Keisu still here on that long position. It's great. And almost gets the third there, but Mariah is here to pick them up. 10 seconds and the time is ticking. And the question is that enough? Will 20 find the bomb? The answer is no. And now the only thing is, well, Elizabeth was not very close. 23 is not able to get that kill. And that was well played there from Keisu.
Yeah, that's a very awkward way to have your victory slip by as well, right? Like if 23, it felt almost like just a bit of a misunderstanding. You know, I can imagine how stressful that is. You're looking up at the minimap, you're trying to deduce exactly what side of the dice box the bomb is on. And she just realizes like there's 4 or 5 seconds left. She knows that there's no time anymore. So she grabs the orb, gets out of the round. And, you know, it's not great to have that one slip by, but you've still got 3 more chances. And that's what you need to be focusing on now. That round really should have been theirs and they know it. But I don't think they're going to look at that as like a huge negative. You know that the buy that's going to be available to DeftFox here is still really just as dire as the one in the round prior. And so they're just going to slow it right down again because they know all the pressure is on their opponent at this point. You know, they're still fine. They're still good. Even in terms of the money, they're still in a much better spot. So they're not feeling that pressure just yet. And DeftFox certainly are. I think that's why we see such a heavy stack down towards this B bomb site.
Oh, and the CTs are going to be going for a nice short push here, but this time no one really going to be around. Actually, in fact, the player from Galaxy Racer that was there earlier holding that connector through that hole is not holding it anymore, but Kelly, she heard the door open, so the sound cue kind of gave it away. Nope, she's just going to play a little bit with that door. You know, why not? Kind of hoping that it would keep the CTs there and maybe selling the fake onto B. But once again, look at the time, 20 seconds. And well, Kelly is there, but I think very soon enough, it will be known that it's going to be a fake. Oh, and Fatal, she is going. Look at that together with Elizabeth. And once again, the time is running out and Anna cannot do it. And Team DeftFox, they have another round. And oh my God, I am not sure what is happening now.
Yeah, no, me either, right? Like you think that You think they'd be able to get this one over the line on the side of Galaxy Racer, but they're just struggling. And, you know, getting this, as we've seen from DeftFox, like case about multiple times, getting to 15 seems so much easier than getting to 16. You know, it's winning that final round to get you over the line. And the moment that your opponent starts to get back into the swing of things, that's where slowly but surely the worry creeps in. And, you know, even if you don't kind of realize it at first, subconsciously it's there. And that's scary to deal with, because round by round, you know, while you're getting more and more paranoid about this comeback happening, your opponent is having like the polar opposite of that. And while it's still very, very stressful for them because they are just one round away from losing it, they start to believe more and more in the fact that, you know, they can at least take this game to overtime. And so, you know, we've been saying that the pressure wasn't on for Galaxy Racer just yet, or let's say I've been saying that. I don't know how you've been feeling about it, but because maybe you know, maybe you kind of knew that already there is a lot of this pressure here, because I imagine there is in some sense. But for Galaxy Racer, the pressure's even higher now, because one of the reasons that there shouldn't have been much to begin with is they at least had like a nice cushion of money to be kind of relying upon, and that's not the case anymore. You know, like this is their last buy, and so suddenly if they lose this one, they're up against 14 on a force buy. And so overtime feels very, very likely if that ends up being the case. This is really important now for Galaxy Racer. If they want to close this map out, if they want to go 1-0 up, moving into their map pick of Vertigo, that they get this round here and now. They put a stop to it. They stop this comeback in its tracks, and they need to go back to basics. And this long play maybe can afford them this opener. If they get the insta kill onto Casey, that's going to make all the difference. But she's got her teammate in Victoria nearby to play this trade game. The flash is going to go over, and that there is Victoria's downfall. A nice little play from 23 and Vilga over at long to play off of one another, to take that advantage and now put Galaxy Racer in this 4-on-3. This is where they're going to get tricky with it. This is where they're really going to play this clock. They rotate back. They know the pressure's on DeftFox again. And so they're going to try and hit this B-bomb site, where right now only one player resides for the CTs.
Yeah, we do see actually a rotation now coming into the mini-map. Also a nice Molotov there from Mariah to kind of delay things. And the question is, she needs to make that play, because all three of them, they're here. Oh, and Claudia is picking her off through that wood there. And now suddenly a 2-on-4. It's getting so hard. Oh, and both of them are now mollied up. They're going to be using the boost here. But look at that, a wall of smokes. That's not really helping things out here. And suddenly Galaxy Racer is smelling that victory here on this first map. Elizabeth and Fatal, they need to make the magic happen. I mean, we've seen some nutty things before from both of these players, but, you know, limited weaponry and no util to work with, and that's it. Claudia and Vilga will close this first map out, and that's a 16-13 here on Overpass. And next up, we will go to Vertigo.
Yeah, and as we maybe have kind of discussed this, right? Like in between the breaks and our downtime, we've said that this is where things get scary, because for DeftFox, I'm imagining that this isn't a map that they've really thought about all too much. And for Galaxy Racer to be picking into it, well, that suggests this was their little surprise pick. You know, they saved this till a very, very important moment, and that moment feels like it's now. And so obviously, you know, like if they do go ahead and get to that grand final, it's going to be knowing that Vertigo is in their pool. But I think this was the perfect time to use it, right? Because as you kind of said to me, what was it? Was it Inferno was the insta ban usually?
Yeah. So far in the tournament, they've insta banned Inferno the whole time. So you know they're most likely going to be doing that again, and that leaves Vertigo open up for grabs. And you know, perfect time, as you said. So that's going to be very, very interesting. But we will take a very, very short break first before we jump to that map. So stay with us, and we see you back soon.